Hey, what's up folks? How's it going? This is Waj. Hope you guys are all doing well. So if you're shopping for a new laptop this summer, perhaps for school, there's definitely a lot of competitive options right now, but I think there's two excellent solutions. Firstly is the new Surface laptop from Microsoft, and the other one is obviously the old trusty MacBook Air 13.3-inch edition. So what we're going to do is actually take a look at both of these computers, take a look at the overall design, the features and benefits that both of them present, and see which one is best suited towards your needs. So let's get right into it and find out which one is best. Now, firstly, in terms of design and form factor, the Surface laptop is a little bit smaller in terms of overall footprint, not by a huge margin. They're both going to generally take up the same amount of space in your bag. In terms of actual thickness, the Air tapers from 3mm to 17mm versus the Surface laptop is 14mm throughout the entire body. And when it comes to weight, again, there's not a huge difference, but the Surface laptop is a little bit lighter, measuring around 1.25 kilograms versus 1.35 kilograms on the Air. Now, in terms of build quality, both machines are made out of a really high quality aluminum grade construction. You're going to see that the Surface laptop is actually lined with Alcantara, which definitely feels pretty unique. This material is typically found in high-end luxury sports cars and things like that. So this fabric is actually pretty soft, durable, and you can easily kind of wipe things down if it gets a little bit dirty. It should provide you a nice comfortable basis for typing and using the trackpad. And that being said, the keyboard and trackpad combination on the Microsoft computer is pretty much on par with the experience that you're going to get on the Air. So there's really no advantage or disadvantage that any of the laptops present based on my experience when using the keyboard and trackpad. So you have plenty of key type spacing. It's a standard kind of chiclet style keyboard on both platforms, and they both have backlight, so you could use it in pretty much any lighting condition. Now, in terms of physical ports and connectivity options, the Surface laptop is a little bit more limited. You have a single USB 3.0 connection, a headphone jack, and a mini DisplayPort output. Now, on the Air, you have two USB 3.0 connections, a Thunderbolt 2 connection, and a full-size SD card slot, which is definitely handy, as well as the 3.5mm headphone jack. So a little bit more connectivity options on the Air, which is interesting to note. Now, even though we're huge fans of the MacBook Air, especially when it comes to battery life, one of the biggest issues with buying one currently right now is that the design and overall feature set is actually quite outdated. They haven't upgraded the Air line for several years, and one of the biggest problems I have with it is certainly the display. Now, it's nice and large. 13.3 inch is a great overall compact size, but it's still a TN panel, and although it has LED backlighting, which makes it fairly decent to view at straight on. If you do have a couple of people with you, though, what you're going to typically find is they're going to find huge shifts in terms of color and brightness when you're looking at the display at different oblique angles. And the resolution is not that great, 1440 by 900. And when you take a look at the display on the Surface laptop, you're going to find a huge difference. 13.5-inch display. It is using the Pixel Sense technology, so the same technology you're going to find in many of the Surface line PCs from Microsoft. So it is touchscreen based, and it's also a smart touchscreen where it can actually analyze what's being interacted with the display, which is pretty cool. But in terms of resolution, you're looking at 2256 by 1504, and in terms of color rendition and viewability, it completely blows the display on the Air out of the water. So a really great overall experience, and plus you have the convenience of the touchscreen form factor as well, which is really nice. It is also using Corning Gorilla Glass, so everything has kind of a nice sheen to it. It can be a little bit reflective at times, but in most cases it's not going to be a huge deal. Now, we have the most economical configurations of both systems being compared over here. So on the Surface side, we're using the Intel Core i5-7200U. It's clocked in around 2.5 gigahertz. It is a dual-core processor like the one that we find similar in the Air. We have 4 gigabytes of DDR4 memory over here and integrated HD 620 graphics. Now, you can obviously configure with more RAM RAM and a better CPU and integrated GPU combination on both PCs. But again, we're just comparing the baseline configuration. Now, we actually have the 2015 version of the Air, so it comes with a Core i5-5250U dual-core processor, which is clocked at about 1.6 gigahertz, and we do also have 8 gigabytes of DDR3 memory configured over here, as well as internal PCI Express SSD-based memory, which is going to give us kind of an edge up when it comes to read and write performance, as you'll see from the benchmark results. Now, taking a look at the actual benchmark results, when it comes to pure CPU performance, the Microsoft Surface Laptop is definitely presenting a pretty nice edge. We're getting 3,600 points on the single core performance and about 7,200 points on the multi-core performance, and you're seeing that the Air is certainly lagging quite significantly behind those test results. Same thing with the Cinebench results. We're getting 324 points versus 257 points on the 2015 version of the MacBook Air. Now, I think the new version of the Air, if you buy it right now, might be slightly faster, but probably not by a huge margin. Now, one significant difference comes from the read and write performance. Apple over here still uses very high-end PCI Express solid-state memory, and the performance is certainly outshining what's in the Surface Laptop. And although the Surface Laptop is fairly snappy in its day-to-day kind of operation tasks, software installs fairly quickly, the operating system boots up fairly quickly, it's still not as fast and as fluid as the experience you're going to find on the Air, as these numbers are demonstrating over here. Now, lastly, even though these machines are not made for gaming and they're not going to give you any really great graphical capabilities, they're both using integrated CPU-based graphics anyways, we just want to see how they kind of compare against each other. So I fired up Heaven benchmarked at 720p, high overall details. We got slightly high average frames per second on the Surface Laptop, about 22.4 versus 20.9 average frames per second on the Air. Not a huge difference between both of them. And again, you're not going to be doing any kind of hardcore gaming on these machines, but if you want to see how they compare in terms of the GPU performance, here you go, right over here. Now, both computers actually promise really tremendous battery life. Microsoft claims 14.5 hours of video playback, and Apple claims over 12 hours of video playback. Now, to kind of put these two competitors against each other in a real-world circumstance, what we're going to do is basically turn off the Wi-Fi, play the same video looped in the VLC Player app, and we're going to crank the brightness all the way to 100%. You're just going to see how long both of these computers last. Now, basically in that scenario, the Air got around 10 hours, 28 minutes before it died, and the Surface Laptop got about 9 hours, 31 minutes before it died. So you're seeing an hour difference essentially between these two PCs, giving it, the Air, definitely a little bit of an edge. So certainly that could be attributed to the OS X being a little bit more battery efficient, or perhaps we have a larger battery on the Air itself. Now, generally speaking, I think most people are definitely going to get a slight performance battery increase when using the Air compared to the Surface, but the Surface is still doing a tremendously good job, especially for a Windows-based PC. The benefits of the Surface Laptop, if you just want to quickly recap, is the design is just a little bit more compact, it's a little bit more lighter in terms of the aesthetic, certainly has the better display, faster CPU specifications for sure. And when it comes to the benefits on the MacBook Air, you do have a little bit more connectivity options with the extra USB connection, as well as the SD card slot, and you definitely have the better battery life, as well as the faster read and write performance. But besides that, it's obviously going to fluctuate depending upon whether you're comfortable with using Windows or Mac OS X, so a lot of your personal preferences will certainly be a big deciding factor on which PC is best. But hopefully this video gave you some sort of direction to go to. Both PCs are excellent value for the money and would be an excellent choice regardless. Hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, give us a thumbs up. Big thanks to you guys for watching this video and supporting our channel.